He is the master of all frogs, and his name is Frogs Master 595. Frogs Master 595. Frogs Master 595. Frogs Master 595.
Hello everyone, this is Frogs Master 595. Alright, so Moe is with us today. And yesterday I made that video about Moe's little spot, his little dirt spot, or, that. Well, you see, this time it's actually with Moe. Alright, so, about not even 2 days yet, but, not yesterday, but the day before, that night, I was just looking at some items to make sure their batteries were not corroded, I gotta do that sometimes because, you never know if it, has started, it'll just, obviously it'll get worse. So that's kind of how corrosion is. But, I just decided to look at not all, but some of the things that I would think would have it. And, the ones that I did look at, they did have it a little bit. I like to move it. Green, he had it a little. He had some blue parts, but I got that off, or at least the most noticeable part of it come off. And then I looked at the other three moving monkeys, and Moko was actually good, and he was the one that had quite a lot of corrosion, but I guess he just ended up, that time I cleaned him, I guess it was just good enough for him. Munchkin was completely okay, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, Munchkin did have just a teeny tiny bit, but very little bit. Everything else was perfect with him. And then I also looked at Mushy, and Mushy, I looked at Mushy, and he was completely good, as I thought he would be. And those other three moving monkeys, they actually had their green battery strings, but yeah, I like to move it. It's obviously red. But, I looked at those four. And then also, of course, I looked at Moe, because I said I looked at all the moving monkeys. I looked in there, and oh boy, oh dear. I mean, it still wasn't as bad as what, Red Yeah has for his corrosion, and not as bad as the Turbo Rig, since that's the worst corrosion I've seen is from the Turbo Rig, but, oh boy. Moe may not be the worst. He may not even be the third worst, but oh man. He sure had a lot of mixtures of it. I mean, he had this weird brown corrosion, not rust, because it wouldn't come off then. Not rust. He had this weird brown corrosion. He had the white, puffy battery corrosion, meaning it's the new stuff that was forming, and it was forming at the battery under the other one. His battery string was actually fine. It was still in there, but the battery string didn't have corrosion on it like it usually does to these, but it wouldn't pull the battery down there out because it was, the corrosion was stopping it, So I had to do the same thing that I did to Puffy Heads. Yeah. Yep, I had to get the screwdriver to keep peeling the battery. Peeling and peeling and peeling until that battery would be, lighter, I guess you could say, in weight, so it would just come out. I mean, at least it worked. I was worried, and I was worried with the Puffy Heads, too, that peeling the battery, I'd accidentally peel the contact, but I don't think that'll happen now, because the contact is on there too tight. I don't think it'll, I don't think the screwdriver will make it come off, but had to peel his battery, and yes, I tried banging him down, on his, compartment, on the floor. I tried that, and that was not working at all. So, just so you know, I did try that first before doing this. It could hurt the contact, but, yeah. Eventually I did get that out. It took a while, but then, once that was out, there were a lot of powder, came out when I had it over the trash can. I mean, when I got that battery out and shook him twice, it was just, yeah, a lot of powder corrosion, white. And then once I got that out, then I realized the blue corrosion. Actually, I realized it before I got the battery out, but yeah, brown corrosion, blue corrosion, white corrosion, powdery white, because, that's got to be in there. So, I got it all cleaned out. It took a while to do it, and did all that, getting it all out and stuff. It took a while. And then I got his new batteries in, and pushed his button, and he wasn't working. So then I thought it must still be the corrosion. But then I also thought maybe it's this whole battery thing with Moe about how he needs one of 3. Each battery he needs has to be from a different brand, and I was thinking about that, how I used to think that. But I knew that couldn't be right, because that makes no sense that you would need 3 different brands of batteries. That'd be so weird. That does not make sense. I mean, batteries are batteries. They're doing the same thing. Still 1.5 volt. I mean, it's gotta work. It's just weird. So, I didn't try the 3 different batteries because I just knew I didn't need to do that. So, I just tried cleaning the corrosion more, and then, did it again, pressed his button, still nothing. And at that point I thought, I guess it's the button now. So, I did take a zip tie out, and I opened them up, and I just looked in there, and when I found the wires, I got them, and they were off. And yeah, so, I put the batteries back in and put them together, and he still wasn't working. So then I thought, oh no, I just ride Moe. Great job. Not going to hear his song again. But then I looked back in there at the wires, and I realized that there's no way that these could have not been the button wires, because both of these had the little parts, with those little gray things. Honestly, I don't know what they're called. But they're like little protectors, basically. Those little dark gray things. And then there's like 2 wires in them that are together. Probably for some sort of reason for the board or for the button. But, there's 2 of those. One of them goes off with this one, and one of them goes off with that one in there. And then, of course, both of these are on the circuit board, which I could tell. They were on a circuit board. And those 2 little parts there were all good. 2 wires were in the little gray protector things. So that I knew because of that these had to have been the button wires. And I made sure, because I looked at Webster, whose skin was still off at the time. And this was actually now the next morning when I was looking at Webster, I'm pretty sure. It was probably the next morning. No, maybe not quite. I think it was still that night. I did it for a while, but I had to take a break eventually. I was just getting tired of it, But still, I got back to it that night, and, I looked at Webster, and he had the same thing with his wires. The little protector things, they were white, though. Same thing, though, little protector things, one for this wire, one for that. And wires, were in him and his thing at the board, and I can see through the little hole on his, little plastic shell thing. And that hole was meant to be there, but with Moe, I can't really see it. I mean, I can see the wires on the board, but, yeah. But I could tell from Webster that these wires, they were the same kind of way that Webster was, and I knew Webster worked. I know that Webster works when I put his wires together. And, because I know that, these are the same thing with Moe, so I know if I put these wires together, it should make Moe work. Because, don't know what could be wrong. So I figured out that, yes, these were the right wires. Then I thought maybe it's the corrosion again. Because it can't be that whole battery thing. So, went back in there, cleaned them out again. This would be the next morning. Cleaned them out again, and again, and again, did it for a while. I used a lot of Q-tips, a lot of that rubbing alcohol. So I did it for a while, like 20 minutes, and then put it all back in, and still didn't work. Still didn't work. Well, I wasn't pressing the button now, I was putting the wires together, but then I started to think again that, oh boy, no, I fried it. Yeah. But then I thought, no, wait. Let me look at the contacts on the upper part of it, more towards the circuit board and mechanism. So I did that, and where the red wire, where you could see where the red wire was, it wasn't off, no. I'm starting to think that maybe the red or the black wire came off, though, but they didn't. But when I looked at the contact from up there, it was pretty corroded. So clean that off, and then I put the two wires together. Still wasn't working. So then, again, looked. And every time I did this, I had to keep taking the batteries out, because I don't mess up anything. You never know. So, looked at the black wire with the contact. That one was really corroded. And it had the white powdery thing, too. So, clean that off. Then pressed them. Putting the wires together, I don't need to press them anymore, because the wires. Put his wires together. Then he finally worked. So, that was a relief. I didn't fry him. So, yeah. It just took a while. A lot of corrosion up there, corrosion everywhere. A lot of cleaning, so it was never that I fried him. And it wasn't the whole battery thing that I always thought. It was just either always because of the corrosion, maybe it was always because of this button. Well, it was both. But I didn't think his wires would come off of his button like that. Because right before I had first decided to take a look at his batteries, his button was working, so I don't know, but anyways, I guess I should play him now, so. So yeah, you see, he's still how he was, doesn't move, spinner, don't move, gears, both split, and his arms, kind of snapped in a way, but I'll have to play him again. One more time. Yeah. Yep, so this is all good. Yeah, so with that said, you could say that Moe is fixed. Yeah, peace.